Iranian state media is confirming this morning that President Ebrahim Raisi has died. He was killed when his helicopter crashed yesterday in a mountainous area of the province of East Azerbaijan. All passengers and crew on board died, including Iran's foreign minister and other officials. Iran's supreme leader confirmed today the vice president will act as president until the election, which will be held within the next 50 days. Iran has declared 5 days of mourning for Raisi, who was known as a hardliner who led a crackdown on protests and was considered a possible successor to the supreme leader. For more, we're now joined by Ali Vaez. He is the director of the Iran Project at the International Crisis Group, and he joins us this morning from Doha. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning.
My pleasure.
A lot of reaction to this death now. What is the reaction in Iran right now?
Well, it's a mixed reaction. President Raisi was not a popular president. He came to power in 2021 with the lowest turnout in the Islamic Republic's election since 1979, and had not a very positive track record. Iran's problems are deep and wide, from a miserable economic situation to the country's isolation on the international stage and political repression. And we know, based on the regime's own surveys, that the satisfaction among the Iranian people runs as high as 85%. And last week, the state ran a runoff parliamentary election, and in the capital city, Tehran, only 8% of the electorate showed up. So that shows you that there is a deep divide between the state and the society in Iran. So we've seen some people on social media celebrating Raisi's death. Some people are indifferent towards it. But of course, the 10 to 15% of the Iranian society that remains supportive of the regime is also mourning his loss.
In the wake of his death, what kind of void does this create within Iran's political infrastructure?
So President Raisi was a particularly weak president. He went further than his predecessors in disempowering the office of the president. The main decision maker on all matters of state, foreign and domestic, is the supreme leader, and the Revolutionary Guards in Iran has become more and more powerful by the day. And so this doesn't really leave behind a significant vacuum in terms of the day-to-day management of the country or Iran's regional foreign policy or nuclear policies. But what it does is that it makes a difference in terms of succession plans, because he was seen as one of the lead contenders for succeeding the 85-year-old current Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. And he was selected for that position primarily because he was very loyal to the Supreme Leader and extremely subservient to him. That will create a jockeying for finding another contender.
Could Raisi's death now potentially open up the country to the possibility of political unrest?
It is possible. Any election in Iran requires mass mobilization. Despite the political apathy, I'm sure the system will be worried about unrest at home. And in general, as I said, there is a high degree of dissatisfaction. And all of this is happening amid a growing regional turmoil, especially tensions between Iran and Israel that we saw came to a head last month. And as long as the war in Gaza is ongoing, there is also the possibility of escalation by accident, including the Houthis in Yemen, for instance, firing on commercial warships in the Red Sea that could result in high casualties, or we can see tensions between Israel and Hezbollah. So it's a pretty tense situation, and a lot of black swans could emerge.
What are you watching for next as the investigation continues?
Well, as you know, the Middle East is often rife with conspiracy theories, so it would be interesting to see if there is any accusation of foul play. But it does appear that this was an accident. The most interesting to watch is who the system would put forward as candidates for the next presidential election, because I imagine that this would remain an intra-conservative, pretty close election. Nothing coming close to a free and fair election. Which really, again, is aimed at consolidating the power in the hands of conservatives in the run-up to the looming succession of the supreme leader.
Thanks so much for your time and your insight this morning. That's Ali Vaez, director of the Iran Project at the International Crisis Group.